All right, I think we're recording. We'll get started. So today we've got our fifth series in the Data Cloud Bootcamp hands-on session. Today we're going to be covering how to create segments, how to sync them into Marketing Cloud, and we're going to be building a custom journey to do three things. Our goal is to, one, pull in a qualified subscriber from Data Cloud, two, pull in some data points that we can personalize that email, and three, to use that data from Data Cloud to create custom journey paths in Marketing Cloud. So in the first four sessions, we did a lot of data ingestion, pulling in the data from the different environments. Then we unified the data, and now we need to do something with that data. Let's get some cool emails being sent and all that. So let me just share my screen. Just want to give a little bit of background of about why we're doing this. Let me share my screen. And let's go into slideshow. Can everybody see my screen? I forgot to ask. Okay.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so this is our use case that we had. If you attended the regular bootcamp sessions, we went over this, but we'll go over it in a little bit more detail just to set the why we're doing this. So Cervelo Bank, our fictitious company, has launched a new mobile app, and they've communicated out in like an all-out marketing blitz. But they've found that signups are a little bit less than expected. People aren't really using the app as intended. It gives them the ability to make trades on their phone, but they're not seeing a lot of those trades being completed. And so some of the challenges is, the lack of response, not meeting those KPIs. Number two is that data is siloed in the mobile app. Can't really communicate to those users except for in-app promotions. They want to use Marketing Cloud, but they can't really find a way to make that connection. So that's why they pulled in Data Cloud to help solve that problem. And just taking a look at that sales funnel, that trying to dig into those KPIs. Why aren't they getting people to use that mobile app? And today we're going to focus on the top segment here, segment one. So in this scenario, they noticed those prospects. They have these two major groups of segments. They have a prospect, someone who hasn't put money into their account to start trading. And then they've got traders, which are those traders who will be making those different investment decisions, purchases on their phone. So today we're going to focus on the above the line here, the prospects. In that prospects subsegment, there's the biggest group are these people who've signed up. They don't have a problem getting people to sign up, but the most important next step is to get them to link their bank so that they can deposit money to start making trades. So what we want to do is identify segments in Data Cloud of those people who've created an account, but they haven't linked their bank, so that we can pull them into a journey, send them email communications to try to get them to cross that bridge and link their bank so they can become traders. And this is just an overview of the scenario like we talked about. We're pulling in data from this mobile app, which we're going to have Sasi actually fill out to pull in some data, pull it right into the Data Cloud. We've got data coming from different sources that Sandesh took you through. But today we're going to be focusing on that mobile app data coming into Data Cloud, and then how we can use that data, the unified data that Michelle talked you through, and how we can pull that out into Marketing Cloud and create those dynamic actions. So let me stop sharing. Any questions on that use case and what we're going to be doing today before we get started? Okay. In the chat, Sasi, I've got this link, which we'll be using in a moment. That's the actual link for the mock application that we've created. So if you want to click on that, we're going to have you walk through entering that data. We also have on Hands-on SFMC this link of what we're going to be going through today, creating a segment and pulling that down into Marketing Cloud. So let me stop sharing. And Sasi, if you want to share your screen, we will see where you are. I know that, thank you for signing up as a builder. Actually, if you would like to introduce yourself, your experience with Data Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Salesforce.
Hey Tim, yeah, thank you. For this opportunity, I am Sasi Kumar Mohan. I've been using Salesforce since 2018. I began with Commerce Cloud and I've moved on to Marketing Cloud. And recently, I got my Data Cloud certification. I've been working on a lot of projects since then, implementing the product for different customers. So today, I Tim, I was going to ask, I cannot see the link in the chat. I joined a few minutes late, so that could be the reason. If anyone can post it again, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that, no problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll share my screen now. Do you see my screen all right?
Perfect, looks good.
Awesome.
All right, so let's add you as so we're gonna just pretend that you're a new user signing up for this mobile application. So if you click on not a user sign up on the top there, yep, and then you can just fill out your information. It can be a real email address or a fake email address.
All right. I'll use my email address.
Awesome. So that's, it's pretty simple as far as, but we wanted to walk through the experience. What is happening in the background, I think if you were attending Sandesh's session, it is making an API call to, via the Heroku connection into Data Cloud to pull in Sasi's information. And this is going to create an account for him. And the next time he logs in, he'll be able to link his bank. And so this is where we've got this current segment. We've got Sasi who's got an account that's created, and we want to start communicating with him to link his bank in the application. So that completes that part of the exercise. And then we're going to go into Data Cloud. I think you've got both Data Cloud and Marketing Cloud set up. Sasi, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I think if you go to the dots in the upper left-hand corner, and I think if you search for Data Cloud, it might have to give you a permission set, but let's just see if it's not. Okay, great. Yep. So let me share my screen. I'm going to pull back in, and I think we've done this before, but we'll walk through this one more time. Just kind of think it's kind of helpful from an admin standpoint. What we've set up for Sasi in the Data Cloud environment and what we need to do so that he can see it. So let me share my screen. And so we are in setup for the for Data Cloud. Let's click edit. I think just for this exercise, so we've created a user for Sasi, and just for this exercise, we're just going to give you admin access. We're probably going to pull that back to standard user after this exercise. And then what we're also going to want to do is add a permission set so that you can log in to a Data Cloud. So I think we need to pull in the Data Cloud admin, save, and let me stop sharing. And hopefully, Sasi, that gives you the ability to see the Data Cloud environment.
Refresh the page.
There we go.
See.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So yeah, so what we're going to do today is we're going to create segments. We're going to create two segments. We're going to create a segment using the unified individual that Michelle had created to show the power of that unified individual and how that's going to work when set up correctly in Marketing Cloud. We're also going to create a segment that's not unified, just so you can see the difference and see how that translates into Marketing Cloud. So let's start off. It'll give us the ability to do this twice, which I think is going to be helpful. So Sasi, let's go to in your browser tab, you've got segments on the upper, right up there in the top. So let's click on that segments tab right to the left of, yep, activation targets, perfect. And then if you want to, what we'll do in the upper right-hand corner, we'll click new. And then for this name, we call this bootcamp _ individual. This is not going to be the unified. We're going to do the individual segment first. And then segment on, if you click on that box, yeah, let's just select individual. Perfect. And then in the description, we can just type in individual segment. You could be more descriptive just to populate the field. Perfect. Let's hit next. Like we did in the walkthrough, we kind of like the 7-day rapid publish option of this. Again, this is going to be this use case. We're going to want to communicate to somebody as soon as like Sasi had filled out that application, that mobile application. We're going to want to send that account, person who's just created an account, an email relatively quickly. So it kind of like the rapid publish version of this. So if we click on rapid publish, and then let's choose a publish schedule. Let's try 8:30. Oh, sorry, yeah. We're going to do 1 hour. So it refreshes every hour. Again, we want the quick turnaround. And let's do today's date on the start date. Okay. And start time. Let's do 8:30 a.m. or whichever time zone you're in. Sasi, are you in? You're probably not in EST.
I am on EST actually.
Okay, great. And then you can choose the end of the year, December 31st, just because we'll want to evaluate our segments at a point in time. Okay, great. Let's hit save. Okay, so now it's our chance to add the different filters. So you can see the population for this use case. We've got 1,400 records. So we're going to open up that caret. I think that's where you're pointing to under that individual. Yep. And let's click on that. So what we've got to determine as a data point in our database is the account terms agreement. You can see there on the left-hand side, Sasi, if you pull that account terms agreement, yep, you pull that over to the canvas on the right, yep. And then if you click the pencil, we're going to want a true value on that. That determines whether someone has created an account. And let's hit done, and let's hit save on the upper right-hand corner. Now that should recalculate our population. So again, when Sasi filled out his application in that mobile interface, if he filled out the entire information and clicked submit, an account is created. And so the other audience members on this could have been from a different source. They could have not filled out the application. So we know we're dealing with a pretty refined audience here of 54 potential subscribers. Okay, and then what we want to do is pull over the bank link field over there on the left, attribute, yeah, pull it over. And let's change that to false. Okay. And then let's hit done. Let's hit save. Let's see what the count changes to. 24, perfect. And then just to show the functionality, I think we walked through this in the walkthrough, let's bring over banklink again, and let's drag it and add it. Sometimes it's a little finicky. So if you see if you can, on the right hand, right by the 2 trash bins for there, and if you hover in the space just to the right of those, okay, yeah, it doesn't do it, so weird. Hit, delete that has no value attribute. If you hit the little trash can on the right, yeah. Now, when you drag over the banklink, if you drag it, before you let it go, if you drag it between account terms agreement and banklink, yep, okay, drop it there. Now, yeah, see now it created those gray spaces. It's so weird, the interface. It doesn't allow, so now if you click, yes, perfect. So we want the 2 below, the 2 bank links highlighted as a, yep, perfect. Click on that. And then let's change that to an or. Perfect. So this gives, yep, and hit save. This gives us, because we don't know the data, right? We really should. But if you're a marketer and you're creating these segments, you might be working with the data team to be like, the bank link could either be false or no value. We know that someone's bank linked if it's true. So again, you can see our population increased when we had that no value. So we want to pull in no value and false. And we want that to be an or between those 2 values. Obviously, we don't want someone that has an account terms agreement with both the bank link as being false and no value. Perfect. So nicely done. That is our segment. And let's hit done. And we'll move on to the next step. So we're going to come back to segment, but you can sort of see the details that you had already filled out here. Let's go over to activation targets, which is the tab just to the right of segment. Okay, and we're going to create a new one. So this is going to determine where are we putting these segments. So if you click on that upper left-hand corner, that icon, that is the Marketing Cloud icon. I think maybe it's already selected. Okay, and let's hit next. Oh, there it goes. Perfect. Let's call this, I think it was bootcamp_individual. Keep the naming similar. Perfect. And you can just write in the description, individual segment. Awesome. Data space, we only have one, at least for this setup, so we'll use default. Let's hit next. Okay, so this shows us the business units. As you know, if you've been going through the training, there can only be one, at this point, only one Marketing Cloud business unit. So this is our BU. When we go into the Marketing Cloud environment, we'll just verify that 109 number, our mid. You can hit save. It looks like there's capability for multiple Marketing Cloud instances, at least in that UI, so that's exciting. Okay, that's all we needed to do on that end. Relatively straightforward. It's just connecting the segment to where it's going to be, populated. Relatively straightforward activity. Now we're going to go to activations. This is so the tab just to the right of activation targets is activation. We're going to create new in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, so this is pulling everything together. So let's scroll down to find your bootcamp. There it is. It's the third one down, bootcamp individual. Yeah, so we're selecting the segment. You could see that count of the 54 in there. That was kind of helpful. There's that bootcamp individual. It's the third one down. Yep, perfect. And the activation membership as individual looks good. Let's click on that arrow just to see what our options are there. Yeah, account contact, probably not the use case we want to use for this. So we'll keep it as what it's set as default. We'll hit continue. We've got two options here. We are going to send an email, so we'll select email. Okay. So this is where we're going to be determining the email. So the email address path, we'll cover that in another session as far as how that path ties back to the unification modeling that Michelle had set up. But what we can do in this is look at the source priority order of where that email address is determined. So if you click on that edit button there, yep. So what this is doing is selecting Marketing Cloud as the primary source for that email address. So if you don't have that email address in Marketing Cloud, let's click on that any option and see what we've got for options here. It's going to help us set priority. Obviously, Marketing Cloud would be preferred. And then we've got our three major data sources here that Sandesh and Michelle had stood up. The first one is the enterprise data. Again, that's coming from, Cervelo Bank, their account system. Number two is the mobile app data that's coming in that, Sasi, you had just filled in. And then last is the Salesforce CRM data that's coming in from that enterprise ID. So I think in our case, we'd probably assume that the email address that you had just filled in would be our best bet. So let's select Bootcamp mobile app stream. Yeah, I think that would be its highest priority. Again, Marketing Cloud database of record for email would always be first, but this is how you can set the priority of where to pull that email address. So just wanted to call that out. And you can add, if you want to click on add another source, if you've got a variety of different options, yeah, so if you clicked on that, let's say that we would think that the Salesforce data would be the next option. So if you select Salesforce _00D6, yeah, that just gives you the priority of how to pull that email address. So we can hit save. Okay. That completes that part of it. We'll hit next. Okay, now here's where we're going to determine the different attributes that are going to be populated in the Marketing Cloud data extension. So up at the top, if you click on that Add Attributes button, yep. And if you open up that caret on the left, so what do we want to send to be included in this data extension? These are those personalization data points and also the data points that we're going to be using to influence the different journey paths in a Marketing Cloud. So we'll start off with, we kind of like to personalize it. So let's select first name. And I think if you just drag that first name attribute to the right and you drop in that little square, there we go. It just gets added there. Nicely done. Let's add last name just in case we need it. That's a little further down. Yep. Let's add in the account number and the account created date. So that'll be a good data point there. And then we'll pull in bank link as well. That'll be a value that's going to be helpful, that might help us influence the personalization and or the journey path in Marketing Cloud. Excellent. Let's hit save. And then you can see those attributes that are populated there on the right. Fantastic. We'll hit next. And then we'll put in our name, Bootcamp _individual. And you could just say individual segment. I kind of like the full refresh. Again, incremental might be preferred if depending on your data size. So if you want to click on full refresh, radio button, let's hit save. All right, that is our activation. That's the third part. It should start the activation history once we publish it. So let's go to the segment tab. We're going to go find the segment that you had created. Okay. And in the upper right-hand corner, in that little arrow button next to copy, let's hit publish now. Cool. So it's going to do its thing. It's going to publish. It should be, at this point, it's going to be writing the data into Marketing Cloud. It takes about an hour for that to actually come down to the Marketing Cloud environment, at least as far as we've seen. But that completes the process as far as creating the 3 parts of a segment and syncing that down to the Marketing Cloud. So we're going to do this one more time, but we're going to modify the segment that we create, and we're going to create a unified version of it. Not a whole lot's going to change, but we'll walk through that one more time. So Sashi, do you want to, yeah, we'll start at segments and we'll walk through this one more time. So you could call this one bootcamp _ unified. Perfect. And then we're going to select the unified individual. Excellent. Maybe 9 a.m. Yeah. Account terms agreement. Done. Yeah, we're going to exact same criteria. And we want bank link is false, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Very good. All right, and let's refresh that count. Let's see what we've got for an account on this. Yeah, so smaller because they're the unified different quantity there. So yeah, let's hit done. That looks good. Nicely done.
Did you want me to move on to activation
Yeah,
target?
if you want to create the activation target and the activation as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that little blue triangle appears in the upper right-hand corner. It tells you it's been selected. Awesome. And then last but not least, the activation. Unified individual. You can see that activation membership comes up with unified individual now instead of just individual. You could select individual, but we want the unified individual. You can see the difference in the data too. It's a little bit more, again, your unified audience is going to be smaller than your individual. Not all records get unified. And you know what? Let's mix this up. Because this is a unified individual, we're going to assume that they've been unified with CRM data. So let's use CRM data as the source of record. If again, if it's populated, we'll assume that so that just sort of mixes that up. Yes, we'll select that. We'll select the mobile as the third option.
Okay.
Fantastic. Perfect.
Yeah, well,
that all looks good. Then we're going to add attributes at the top.
Did we add
And we want to do account number and the account created date. And then the bank link as well. Awesome. Let's hit save. Cool. It looks good.
do a full refresh?
Awesome. Nicely done. And then the last step. Do you remember the last step?
We go back to the segments.
Yep.
And we publish.
Yep, correct. Awesome. Let's go to the other segment. Let's just see if anything has happened in a few minutes that still publishing, it looks like. Okay, still doing its thing. Fantastic. All right. Well, excellent job, Shashi, running through that twice. I think as we can see, this is something that a marketer could do once that data is set up correctly and the right path. You could create up all these different types of segments. So it's really, really friendly in the UI. Let me just, before we move into Marketing Cloud, I wanted to see if there was any questions I can answer. So I got a question, when should we write segment on individual? When should we on unified individual? That's a great question. I can almost open that up into the group. It seems like if the unified individual segments are going to be your more targeted segment, right? It's going to be, if you've got Shashi signed up and he's, he's also in your CRM system with a contact ID. As we see in Marketing Cloud, that's going to pull over a subscriber key that is consistent with our model. As you'll see. So just from that data point, it can be helpful to focus on your unified segments first. You can, work with that segment. They're probably going to have a better refined data set. They might have your enterprise data in there and also your CRM data, which might give you some more data points. It's going to allow you to do some higher level of personalization. So I think that's going to be your strongest set of segments or of your individuals in your environment. Work that first. And then if you've maximized all your efforts with that unified, then branch out to the individual. There's probably some opportunities there. Hopefully that answers that question. But anybody else have any perspective on that? Anybody else who's used Data Cloud unified versus just general individual? Okay. And then sorry about that app. You won't get an email. We didn't create a full end-to-end experience on the mobile app, but thank you for signing up. They added some data to our environment. Typically the person, if we modeled this after a client use case, and they would receive an email and they would follow up that through. So we were just walking through the exercise to show the data. Great question. Okay, let's go into Marketing Cloud. Now we're going to shift over to Marketing Cloud, and we're going to see, well, we won't actually be able to see for this data set because it's going to take an hour to do this. But we have some segments that we've brought down, and we can use those as examples. So fantastic. Sasha, you know where you're going. We're going to go into Email Studio, and we're going to go into the data extension folder. Okay, great. So I think I need to give you some access. Yeah. So hold on one second. Let me go into Marketing Cloud, and let me share my screen. I'll again go back into Marketing Cloud and show everybody we're going to be in that platform. And we had set up Sashi as a basic user, but we will elevate his access right now. So we're in the Marketing Cloud. I'm going to look for his user. Okay, we're going to click here. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to manage his business unit. So right now we have him just on the hands-on. This is the default business unit of what will appear when he logs into Marketing Cloud. These are all the business units that he has access to. So our app is on this main business unit. We'll give him access to all of these for this session. We're going to hit save. And then one more thing, we're just going to elevate his access because I'm not sure what, we're probably going to have time today just to work on a query. So we're just going to, just for the moment, give you some elevated access, and we'll probably scale that back after this call. Okay, let me stop sharing. And Sasha, if you want to share again, we'll hopefully that's given you some visibility to this business unit that has been aligned with the Data Cloud data. So if you go on the upper right-hand corner where it says hands-on external, and you might have to refresh.
Yeah, I was.
Yep. So partner main. Yep, and you can see that mid 109.657.94, that was the one that we saw in Data Cloud. So if you want to click in there. Okay, and then yeah, I think it already closed in Email Studio. Fantastic. I'm going to go to the data extensions folder. And then we're going to go to, scroll down, it's usually at the bottom, and these data extensions appear in the shared items. So if you, at the very bottom, if you open up that shared items, yeah. And then under that shared data extension, and then customer 360 segments. Okay. So, we've created a couple of different versions that we're going to play around with and take a look at. Let's take a look at test_individual_2. That is an example of the data that Sashi just created in his environment, the work that he had done. So you can see the data points that we've pulled in here: first name, account number, last name, account created date, the same data fields that he had selected as attributes. Let's take a look at the records. Okay, so I want to just ask the group, from this data, what is not a potential problem, but sort of a use case that could be a problem using using just an individual? Anybody have any ideas looking at this data? What could be a potential issue? Okay, I'll take, so the one potential issue is the subscriber key. Thank you, Lakshmi. Very good, very good. So subscriber key, right? As those who use Marketing Cloud know, Marketing Cloud will create a new subscriber each time an email is sent, depending on that subscriber key, depending on that subscriber key relationship in your email send. So when you're creating an email, and we'll create this in the journey, in the data extension that we're creating, you're going to set your subscriber key relationship. Now, we could set it to email address and solve that, but you typically want to set it to the subscriber key in your data. And so the challenge with this individual model is that it's creating this wonky subscriber key. It's this, data that's set up on our end to do that. And if you have a model where your preference is maybe like a contact ID or a lead ID from the CRM model, that would be ideal, where you're not going to, every time you send an email to this subscriber, it won't have a new subscriber key. So for instance, if you have a current CRM, a current subscriber in Marketing Cloud that is in your Sales Cloud environment, and they have a subscriber key of some 003 number, say it's a contact, and they sign up for this mobile app, their subscriber key in Marketing Cloud, if you set up to send the subscriber key, it's going to create a duplicate subscriber in Marketing Cloud. You're going to get charged for that contact, and you're starting to duplicate that data. So we've seen with many different enterprises that you see 2, 5, 10, dozens of subscriber keys created. Is it possible to have a real-time communication for a record entering to CRM? And let me just, it's a great question, sort of leads to where we're going with this. Is it possible to have real-time communication for a record entering to CRM and then getting processed by Data Cloud and receives an email via SFMC? That is sort of the way we've set up this model on the Data Cloud side. We are pulling in CRM, and that's part of our unified individual. So to help answer that question, Sashi, if you go back into our data extension list, we've got a test_unified_2. Yeah, unified_2. Okay, so this is that same segment that Sashi had created on the unified side. And let's take a look at the data on this. Again, same field, click on records. And what do we notice here? We see that subscriber key, that number that we love, if we're connected to the CRM environment, we love seeing 003 numbers or 00Qs, right? Those are those lead IDs, those contact IDs. You can also see there's some mobile app data in here as well. So, that's something that you might go back to your data team and say, hey, is there something we can do about this? Could we, could we replace that when we're pulling that into Marketing Cloud? Could we replace that with an email address? In your segment, you could, if you're communicating just to contacts, that could be a filter that individual ID must begin with a 003 or a 00Q. So there's some options there, but this is a very simple data point of showing how you can use the difference of that unified individual. Just in the simple exercise of not creating a duplicate subscriber in Marketing Cloud is that one example of how the power of that unified individual. What was the filter condition we set for bank link attribute for individual segment? The filter condition was that a bank link should either be false or no value. Okay, so I know we're near time. The next step that we're going to do in our next session is we're going to use a query to do two things. Our ultimate goal for this query is to query this data extension of segments. We want to create a data extension that we're going to tie to a journey to send out emails. That we're going to pull in that subscriber key, the appropriate subscriber key, and then we're going to pull in those data points to personalize those emails. We're going to do two different queries. we're going to show how in Marketing Cloud, if you have this issue, like with one of these mobile apps, we might even use the individual data extension where we can look up and join the contact synchronized data extension. And if we can find that contact based on the email address that's passed, then we can take that subscriber key and change it from that mobile app to the contact ID. So it's a way to do some unification on the Marketing Cloud side. So we're going to create those two queries and then pull in that data into an email, validate the email with those personalization data points, create a journey, and then we're going to create a custom attribute in Contact Builder, which is going to be leveraging the bank link field. So when they're in the journey, it's going to check before each one of those emails sends and pull in this real-time hourly data that's being populated here in this segment and say, hey, is this person still in this segment as a false bank link? Then if they're in here, false or no value, then we're going to continue to them in the path of trying to get them to bank link. If they're not in this data extension, then we're going to move them on to the next phase of the communications. So fantastic job, Sassy. Yeah, let's go back to, so possible to see the individual segment. Was that back in Data Cloud? You'd like to see that?
Yeah, let's check it out.
So Sassy, if we go back into Data Cloud.
in MC.
Let's go into the individual segments.
Sashi,
Let's
the
go see
Data
what's going
Cloud,
on.
it's not Data Cloud. It's an SFMC
Oh,
data
sorry.
extension.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it was individual segment _2 test individual. Yeah. Or test under, yeah, I think either one of those works. This one might not have the bank. Oh, no, it has been clicked. Yes, let's
Records.
take a look at the records.
Yeah. Yeah, it's clear, Tim.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great, yeah, suggestion. Okay, well, fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Sashi, amazing job. Thank you for building with us today. We'll have this, recording published out on YouTube to follow through, and then hopefully we'll join next week. It'll be primarily focused in Marketing Cloud, doing all of those items. But again, we're going to be focusing on those 3 areas. We've done one of them. We've pulled in a quality subscriber, right, from Data Cloud. Now we want to personalize the email based on those data values that are coming in from Data Cloud. And then we want to create those custom journey paths in Marketing Cloud and Journey Builder. And that should execute that end. And then the following session, we're going to go into data actions, another way of pulling in data directly to Marketing Cloud from Data Cloud. Awesome.
Thanks much.
Well, thanks everybody. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Baby.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone. I just have a quick note. So the next deep dive session, which is scheduled to be on Tuesday, so that's going to be on 19th, the Wednesday. So we're going to have a joint event with another user group. So I will be publishing it soon. So just make sure that it is on Wednesday or not on Tuesday. And we hope to see you again. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.